you're going to start with a little bit of sound. Do you remember a woman named Gina Loudon? I sure do know that Matt does.
Well, I actually hadn't, and then Brendan reminded me of this previous clip, and it all fell back into place.
It all fell back into place. See, we have to consume so much of this garbage that basically you have your core villains, your core players, your Hannitys, your Alex Joneses, your Sam Harrises,
Tucker Carlson.
Your Tucker Carlson certainly been pretty prominent, your Bill O'Reillys. And then there's this sort of cluster of people who occasionally do a Fox hit.
Sort of replacement level talent.
Was she the TV shrink who refused to shrink for a poly couple on some television show?
Correct.
Nice, Jamie. She was also the person who wrote a book about Donald Trump's superior mental health and said this a couple of months ago on Sean Hannity.
Yeah, Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, Sean, that's what most people have called it to this point. But my book actually uses science and real data and true psychological theory to explain why it is quite possible that this president is the most sound-minded person to ever occupy the White House.
Oh, you are just, you literally liberals' heads are going to explode at what you just said.
Right now. Oh. That's the fun part of the madness, is just watching them go crazy over the fact that he's really pretty unfazed by them. And I believe that. And I know
And that's what drives them nuts.
And that's what drives them
crazy. McCurry.
So, spoken like a true mental health professional, the most fun part is watching them go crazy. There was a piece that came out in New York Magazine yesterday where Olivia Nunzi, who's a reporter, got called into. It's not. Oh, it's fake. No, that's real. That's a real story. Okay. I was going to say. I thought maybe she was writing satire. Sarah Huckabee Sanders had her come into the Resolute room, and Donald Trump sat across from her for like over an hour and had a revolving cast of characters come in just to convince this one reporter that he's not firing Secretary Kelly and that he's a great guy and everything's great and things are great. Another great example of just water off a duck's back. This guy totally doesn't think about certainly what any liberal media outlet thinks of him. Now, she also, though, did mention things like true scientific theory, which I have to be honest, I didn't study in college.
True psychological theory,
and also
Michael.
True psychological theory, which I wasn't a psych major, so I never took any courses in true psychological theory. And I don't recall the other. There were some other very serious and ominous sounding methods that she used for her book. But just yesterday, and by the way, this very rude interview with Lou Dobbs, maybe she had to swat away a grazing hand from this old bastard because he's kind of rude to her. She actually gave us a little bit more of a sense of what true psychological theory might mean in the Gina Loudon method.
Let's start, Gina, with this having to subpoena Rosenstein, the stonewalling of the Congress. The president says he's not going to fire Rosenstein. Congress has really had a bellyful.
Well, the president, Lou,
Did you say
whenever he's
Did you say at the end of that?
I'm just saying that I think whenever the president is doing something and it's not making complete sense to me, I've learned to sort of just wait, because the things that tend to come from that are really good. Like if we look back at what happened, for example, with the tariffs and how he's used that as a negotiating tool.
I trust the president implicitly, explicitly. That's not really my question. My question is, why has Congress taken so long to act, and what will be the result of subpoenaing Rosenstein himself?
Well,
perhaps I should have phrased it a little more elegantly.
In the same way that I trust the president, I sort of don't trust Congress. In like the exact same way,
I like countervailing influences.
Yeah, the flip side of that. I'm used to Congress not acting when they should be acting, and I'm used to not understanding why Congress doesn't use the power that the people who elected them have given them, and still they seem to refuse to use it when it makes the most sense. So, Lou, I'll be the last person that could ever explain what Congress is doing.
True psychological theory in action. You decide, there's a person I trust, there's a group of people I don't. And then whatever the one I trust does, even if it seems absolutely unhinged and makes no sense, I know it's true. The group of people, no matter what they do, I can never explain it. And that is the Loudon method of true psychological theory. Also, when you're dealing with some nasty old prick with the most bizarre hair dye job seen this side of like Palm Beach in 1980, you go, ha, ha, ha. That was awkward.
I wonder if she's going to be on that show again. Cause that
Wife swap?
They didn't have a nice flow together. What?
So I said wife swap.
Oh, she did wife swap.
Apparently, she was not the therapist on Wife Swap. She was one of the wives, and she was the first wife ever to walk off the set because they tried to make her swap with a poly and bisexual family. And just for
Clearly
people who
just
don't
to mess
know,
with her.
like you don't have sex with the other person's husband on Wife Swap. Not usually. Not that we know of anyway. So I would love to find that footage.
Gina, you're going to have to go.
Gina.
Listen, I'm the one you trust, right? I know it doesn't make sense.
I'm the one you trust.
Right
I know
now,
it makes no sense.
but you're going to have to live with that poly family.
You're going to have to live with the poly family. It makes no sense, but you trust me. It's true psychological theory. But bigger news, you don't have to have sex on Wife Swap. That sounds like defeating the whole purpose of the show.
No,
I know. It's like,
it's very silly.
who wants to watch that show?
That would be a pretty remarkable show if you did have to.
Yeah. They just come back and
Probably be
compare techniques.
Probably be some selection bias in the type of people that would consent to be on that.
True.